What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Nailed It. My name is Caleb Nail. As you can see, I don't have my glasses on. I did get a haircut. Lighting may be a little different, and I don't have coffee today. That's because it is 9:15 on Friday night, July 25th, 2025. Way after dark. The kids are in bed. Wifey is in bed. She's not feeling too hot right now. She is hot. She's not feeling well right now. Very hot. And I thought, I have to stay consistent. For myself, I got to stay consistent. My sister got on me. I got to stay consistent. She was frustrated that she didn't have her podcast to listen to. Yes, my sister listens. She might be my one listener. Thank you, sister. Business as usual on Friday night. We're continuing in James chapter 4. This is what I read yesterday morning and been reflecting on this. Then we're going to finally get to Overhyped, Underhyped. I have 5 topics for you guys that I need you to weigh in on. We're going to talk about ruptures in the Achilles because I saw something that Halliburton said, and I found it interesting, and I just want to share some things that I have learned over the past couple of years about Achilles and your legs, knees, tendons, muscles, all those things. I am not an expert. Before we get into it, I'm not an expert on those things, but I have found these certain things to help, and I would like to share those. We're going to talk about the government in sports. I'm sure you've heard a lot of things going on with the government, especially if you're a sports fan. There's a couple stories that have come out with government in sports. We'll talk about that. The Fresno State quarterback competition is now open, and Coach Entz touched on that. We will very briefly touch on quarterback competition in Fresno. And we have some other things to get through as well. Let's start in James 4, shall we? Open up your Bibles to James chapter 4, verse 1. What causes fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? You desire, but do not have, so you kill. You covet, but you cannot get what you want, so you quarrel and fight. You do not have because you do not ask God. And when you ask God, you do not receive because you ask with wrong motives, that you may spend what you get on your pleasures. You adulterous people, don't you know that friendship with the world means enmity against God? Therefore, anyone who chooses to be a friend of the world becomes an enemy of God. Or do you think Scripture says without reason that he jealously longs for the Spirit he has caused to dwell in us? But he gives us more grace. This is why Scripture says, God opposes the proud, but shows favor to the humble. Submit yourselves then to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Come near to God, and he will come near to you. Wash your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. Grieve, mourn, and wail. Change your laughter to mourning and your joy to gloom. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. Brothers and sisters, do not slander one another. Anyone who speaks against a brother or sister or judges them speaks against the law and judges it. When you judge the law, you are not keeping it, but sitting in judgment on it. There is only one lawgiver and judge, the one who is able to save and destroy. But you, who are you to judge your neighbor? Isn't that good? That's so good. Just a great reminder. Once again. James chapter 4. Pause it there. Go read that section of chapter 4. That's verse 1 through 12. Pause it. Go read it. All right. And I'm going to pull up overhyped, underhyped. All right. 5 topics for you on overhyped, underhyped. Now, there is a gray area. We can always give a properly hyped. Okay. First one submitted by Aaron, and Aaron submitted 2. USC football. Aaron says USC football has been overhyped since the early 2000s. If you live in Fresno, yes, they are overhyped. However, I think to the rest of the country, they are properly hyped. Because I think what equals or what gets you the hype is actually winning the games, right? Maybe you could talk about Lincoln Riley coming in as coach. And then you could argue that they were overhyped, but they're not winning at the level that they used to be in the early 2000s with Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush and those guys. So I still think they have been properly hyped. Now, today's USC, I do think is being overhyped. Okay. So from early 2000s to a couple years ago, I would say probably properly hyped. They're being properly hyped because they're not winning and they're not showing it, proving it on the field, other than maybe 1 or 2 years. But this year with Mayava at quarterback, who's a transfer from, I believe, San Diego State. He was there last year. They have a couple good defensive players returning. They improved defensively. I think they're being overhyped. We see they actually lead the Big Ten, the conference that they're in recruiting rankings as of right now for the next recruiting class. So the number 1 class in the Big Ten. I think people are seeing that. They're seeing this Mayava kid who's dual threat, and there's a lot of potential there, but I haven't really been impressed with him at USC as of late. And then defensively, they took a step forward last year, but still not that great. They have a lot to do, and they have a lot to prove as well. And so I think the media, and this is why I think they're being overhyped, is because they're those reasons, and then primarily because they're in the Big Ten. If they were in the original Pac-12 conference, as the 2 years ago Pac-12 conference, I think we don't see this hype. But right now, because they're in the Big Ten has won a team from the Big Ten has won the past 2 national championships. They're in the news with the SEC. There's tons of money. The teams in the Big Ten are going to get the hype. And USC is part of that crew. They're being overhyped. Oregon is being underhyped. Oregon has insane potential this year. Problem is that their quarterback has not played. Okay, so we don't know how that's going to be. But everywhere else on the field, they have returners. They have guys that have played at Oregon and have numbers at Oregon. They're legit, and they have transfers that have numbers elsewhere that are very good players. Oregon is underhyped in the Big Ten. You didn't ask that, but I thought I'd put that out there. And I hate Oregon, by the way. Hate them. Love Dan Lanning. Absolutely love Dan Lanning and what he's doing in Oregon. I hate that I love Dan Lanning. I will always hate the Ducks. Always. All right, here's another interesting topic. Overpopulation versus underpopulation. Well, I think the population conversation is being underhyped. In general, we are extremely underpopulated. If you disagree with me, go look at the stats. We will not have very many people here soon. My kids and my grandkids are going to struggle because there is no one here. No one in the entire world is having babies. Nobody. So the underpopulation is being underhyped. The overpopulation is being extremely overhyped. Extremely overhyped. We are we don't have enough people having babies here. We um uh, countries are going to die off. Like, go see what's happening in Southeast Asia. Look what's happening in Europe and even in North America. Look what's happening. We've talked about it on this channel before, on this show before. It's um it's getting bad. It's getting bad. So the underpopulation conversation is underhyped. It needs to be talked about way more. Givoli Winery. Check out Givoli Winery. Great place in the Central Valley. Says the Super Bowl. Oh, man. I think it's very interesting to go many ways. I actually think the Super Bowl is overhyped. I do. It is the championship game, but everything that goes on around it, halftime show. The halftime show has been extremely overhyped for the past, 20 years. The commercials are now overhyped. People watch it just for commercials, and I think they have been subpar. The game itself is fun, right? But the Super Bowl is just the NFL uses it just to make money. There's too many breaks in football in general, and then you throw the Super Bowl, the most watched sporting event on planet Earth, other than the World Cup. But they just throw commercial after commercial after commercial. There's ads everywhere. The halftime show is way too long, and it's not entertaining. It's the Super Bowl event is overhyped. Now, what the Super Bowl brings together is underhyped. This is the great thing about sports. Sports is a wonderful unifier. It can be. You bring in all your friends and family. There's great food. That stuff isn't talked to. That's why we enjoy the Super Bowl, right? That's what needs to be. Nobody cares who's playing. If it's your team, maybe. But even then, where I'm at now, if the Raiders are playing the Super Bowl, sure, I'm going to be excited. But am I really going to pay attention to the game over my friends and family and food and wine? No. That is the part that I love. The last Super Bowl, was fantastic, right? Right? You would say probably not, because it was the most boring game as a football game in general. Boring. It was the most exciting Super Bowl for me ever, because I had all my family I hosted, had family at my house, friends at my house. We had a wonderful time. That is what is so great about the Super Bowl, and it's underhyped. I think more people need to gather together. In general, we just need to gather together. And the more excuses we have to gather together, the better, right? It should be the same for the NBA Finals, or whatever it is. That's why I think any excuse we can use to get together, do it. Let's do it. Hands happenings. She's going to be a guest, by the way. This is Hannah. She's going to be a guest on the show soon. Avocado toast. Overhyped. Carbs. Why? No. I don't need the toast, ruins it. Just eat the avocado. Salt on the avocado, maybe a little hot sauce. Boom. You know what's way better than avocado toast? Avocado on some eggs. Boom. Done. Yuck. No. I'm good. And it doesn't go well with coffee. Like, what? It's at all the coffee shops. What are we doing? Big bug. Actually, while I was setting up, a June bug flew in my shirt. Of course, what happened? Avocado toast, extremely overhyped. It is dying down though. That's good. But it's still on lots of menus. I just want, can we do avocado eggs? That would be so much better. That's Underhyped. And then Hannah also says, and this is close to home for me, Crocs. I am wearing Crocs right now. Crocs, as of right now, I would say are properly hyped. When I was in high school, they were extremely underhyped. I had a pair. I had a pair of Crocs, and I was made fun of every day on the pool deck. Every day when I walked into a basketball gym, because everybody had their cool slides on the pool deck and in the basketball gym. I was in my Crocs. Well, who's laughing now, boys? I am. That's right. Now, were they an ugly brown color? Yeah, I understand. But who's laughing now? Who's wearing Crocs now? I would like to put out there that my brother and I started the Croc train. We slowly got everyone on the Croc train. But this is 2012. 2011, 2012. We were wearing Crocs everywhere. And we were made fun of. We were bullied. Almost. We had tough skin, though. Couldn't bully us out of our Crocs. And now look at it. Taken over the world. Properly hyped. Thank you, Hannah, for bringing up Crocs. What do you guys think? Overhyped, underhyped. USC football? Population? Overpopulation? Underpopulation? The Super Bowl. Avocado toast and Crocs. Let me know what you think. That is overhyped, underhyped. I will do my best not to forget next week since we did it on Friday. I'm just going to keep it on Friday. Let's keep Fridays fun. Let's do it that way. Okay, what I want to talk about right now is Achilles ruptures. The Achilles tendon tends to be ruptured often in basketball, in football. It happened a lot this past NBA basketball season. And Tyrese Halliburton, who plays for the Indiana Pacers, ruptured his Achilles in the finals. And the Pacers ended up losing, and he's their star. So they ask him, and he says his Achilles tear was not due to workload. I agree with that. He says he thinks the recent spike in Achilles tears among NBA players, including himself, are quote, unquote, bad luck, rather than a taxing schedule. I agree with half of that. It's not a taxing schedule. It's not workload. That is not the reason for these ruptured Achilles all over the league. And it's not bad luck. I'm going to give a shout out here to Knees Over Toes Guy. You got to go look up on YouTube or X, Knees Over Toes Guy. Okay, I have terrible ankles. I sprained my ankle, both ankles, twice in high school. There's like cartilage, like scar tissue. Not cartilage, just like scar tissue. It's awful. I have no flexibility. I have bad knees. No flexibility in my hip flexors, in my hips. Like it's bad, right? Flexibility is terrible. And all throughout high school and in college, lifting weights all the time. And you look at the NBA guys, and granted, let me put this out there. I'm not an NBA player. I don't know if you could tell or not. Especially if you see me on the basketball court. Not an NBA guy. And not an NFL guy. And I'm not built like one. But it happens to normal, everyday people at the gym. Their Achilles just pop. Why is that? Okay, so let me explain this to you. When you were in high school, you remember what they said when doing squats and working out and things like that? Your knees should never go over your ankles, right? Never over your toes. Well, they've done research into that. It's completely wrong. The farther you go over your ankle and over your toes, the healthier it is for you. It stretches everything, Okay. You do squats, go deeper. Okay. Elevated ankles, heels, go deeper. All the way down. ATG stands for ass to grass, grass to the grass. Lunges, go all the way forward, all the way. You want really deep calf raises. Do the whole motion, okay? Because it builds up these tendons, right? We see these guys doing squats, calf raises. That's about it. They focus on they do a couple front squats. They don't go all the way down. They build up these leg muscles, huge muscles, huge. And they lack hip flexor flexibility. They lack hamstring flexibility. They lack ankle flexibility. And all those massive muscles are pulling on each other, right? And then I want you to go look at when all these Achilles rupture, okay? What happens? Usually when you're taking it's your foot behind you, right? And you're pushing off, right? You're trying to make an explosive movement, right? Like your ACL tears, or in these cases, your Achilles, right? And your foot is kind of flat to the ground and you're pushing. And then I want you to go see where their knees are. Their knees are always over their toes, because when you accelerate, when you push off, your knees are over your toes all the time. Go watch these videos. Go watch them and pay attention to where their knees are, where their ankles are. When the Achilles ruptures, you could see it because you see the whole calf muscle go, right? Painful. And it's because of a lack of flexibility, because we're focused on the major muscle groups. That's why we see tons of ACL tears in the NFL. Major muscle groups, their hammies are huge, right? And our ACL, little tiny thing. And they're pulling on each other. And then all of a sudden you make one little simple cut and that thing just goes, boing, gone. Achilles, boing, gone. Surgery, end of season. And it's hard to recover. So what I'm telling you is flexibility is key. Okay, I want you to go look up knees over toes guy, study what he does, okay? And I want you to work on your flexibility. That's what I am currently doing. My bounce has gotten better just by working on flexibility. If you work on flexibility, my legs are getting more defined. Granted, I've sat in an office for a year, and I've atrophied a little bit, but besides the point. It's helping. I actually have no knee pain after playing basketball now. My ankles still struggle, but I'm not going to say it. My ankles have been much better, but my hip flexors are still struggling. I have extremely tight, and my hammies. So I'm working on that still. But work on flexibility. And I would encourage professional athletes and college athletes and high school athletes. I mean, if you're an athlete, you need to work on flexibility first, right? Now, coach is going to have you lifting weights. You're going to do bench press, squats, power clean, right? That's what you're going to do. Well, you need to add in at home these stretches, okay, that strengthen these smaller tendons and smaller muscles that you need to be strong if you're going to have massive calf muscles and thighs. You need to. And it's going to help with your pain. Very important. All right. That was on it touched close to home. I want to talk about that. There it is on Achilles. Okay. All right. Let's get to the next topic. Government in sports. Getting a little warm out here. So there was an executive order put out by the Trump administration about NIL and college athletics. Was that yesterday or today? I can't remember. And I have to be honest with you. I have not read the executive order. Okay. But to my knowledge and from what I've seen out there, it's all bark and no bite, right? And that's a good thing. And I'll get to that second. The second thing that has happened that I've been seeing is that the Trump administration and President Donald Trump himself has said that he is going to withhold things from the Washington Commanders until I think for their stadium until they change their name back to Redskins. And same with the Cleveland Guardians to the Indians. Well, so you have these two incidences of the federal government getting involved in sports. And this is where I draw the line. Okay. And I hear people saying different things about, you can dislike teams changing their names. Okay. I disliked the teams changing their names. Heck, the Indian tribes disliked them changing their names. You can like them changing their names. But when we get down to it, and I don't know all the logistics about the Washington football team, but this is a private company. Okay. When you do something, when you change the name, I don't want government coming in and telling me or threatening me to change my name. I think that's dumb. I think that's petty. We just have to don't support them. If you don't support what they did, then don't support them. Don't give them your money. Right? I think that's the easiest way to do things. Or change the support. Change who you support. But by getting government involved in sports, doesn't that set a precedent? Right? And I don't want that. I don't want government in anything. The only thing I want government for is for military, to protect us. That's why government is there, is to protect us. But now we have given government so much power that we are going to even give them power in the sports world. Why? We don't like being taxed. Well, that's government, right? Nobody likes being taxed, but we allow it. And now we're going to allow them to get into sports. I don't like this. I don't the conversation can go multiple ways. And I know the main way it is going right now in college athletics, the conversation at least, is saying college football and college athletics is so far gone. The only way we can get back is if we have the federal government step in and make it go back to the way it was. I completely disagree with that. 100% disagree with that. Now, if there's monopolies that we need to break up, okay, now we could talk. But if the people can't do something on their own without government, we have a big problem in society and as a culture that we rely on government to do these things. I don't want government in sports. I don't want government telling us what we need to name our teams, especially if I'm the owner of the team. I don't want the government telling me that. I don't want the government, unless I'm using the government to build the stadium, which I know it's in Washington, D.C. So, I'm sure there's laws in there, things like that when it comes to building in D.C. I don't live there. I don't care to. But I will. You're gonna hear me say it all the time. Is I don't want government in sports. I don't want government in church. You know what the funny thing is that we now lean on the government to do all these things for us when and we talked about it on this show earlier this week. It should be the church. Right, you know who started sports in America? The YMCA, the Young Men's Christian Association. Young Men's Christian Association, right? You know who started the government? It was Christians. Like, you know who started government in general? Christians. Go talk to Moses. Government that we have today, government that works. Where's the body of Christ? Right? We can relate all of this back to the body of Christ and our involvement in culture, right? And we have allowed the secular culture to come in and just wipe us out. And it's not good. I am also on the bandwagon though of it doesn't matter that much. Right? It matters. Yeah, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter that much. It matters. But our number one focus is not that, right? Our number one focus is to preach the gospel and to get people in relationship with Christ, right? And once we do that, well, we're not doing that in the United States, but once we begin to do that, then culture will follow that, right? Then government will follow that because we put people in government that have those values. People in the sports world now begin to have those values. And by the way, they are. Sports world is flooded with believers, God-fearing men and women. And it's only a matter of time. And I think it's starting actually right now. So anyways, all of that to say, can we keep government out of sports? Please. Don't want government in anything else. All right. Fresno State quarterback competition. This is about the time where everybody logs back on to social media. The sports people log back onto social media or start interacting again with Fresno State athletics. Start to look at the two deep. Who's on the team again? What's going on? This is the start when I start to get asked, Caleb, who's the starting quarterback? Who's the starting quarterback? I'm going to answer that for you right now. Okay. No one knows. That's it. No one knows. Okay. So we have Kurt Warner's son. Little Warren. I'm forgetting his name. Anyways, Kurt Warner's son. EJ Warren. He's taking reps with the ones, and so is the transfer from Sacramento State. I believe his last name is Conklin. A transfer from Sacramento State. He's been taking reps with the ones. Then you have Jaden Mandel, who is from Buchanan. He's been at Fresno State his entire career. He is taking reps as well. Not with the ones, but he's out there playing quarterback. Coach Entz said that those two quarterbacks were taking reps with the ones, and was asked about, is Jaden Mandel in the mix as well for position number one, quarterback one? And he said, yeah, it's wide open. Everybody's competing for it. That's what we want. It's going to be, let's have some fun. Those are his words. Let's have some fun. If you haven't watched Matt Entz's interviews with the media after practice, you need to. He's great. He's lost his voice because he's yelling all the time. It's awesome. And you can tell, you could see it in the kids. You can hear him yelling. There's energy there. And I really like that. But when it comes to who's the quarterback going to be for Fresno State, we don't know. We don't know right now. Just hang on a little bit. Okay, so if you're looking to sign an NIL deal with the starting quarterback, just wait. Just wait until Entz announces it. He is going to announce it in August sometime. Just hold on. Okay, the other thing. Raiders fans. This is for you. The Raiders have let go of defensive tackle Christian Wilkins after 1 year into his contract. I believe it was a 4 or 5 year contract. He's been injured, and they do not have to pay him the rest of the guaranteed money or portions of that guaranteed money. But here's the thing, okay? You go into the draft, right? You have the number 6 pick in the draft. And you're looking at, this is my thought process. You're most likely thinking of improving the defense somewhere, right? Because defense has been bad for a long time, really bad. Okay. You see a couple good players get taken that you wanted ahead of you, and you decide to go with best available, Ashton Jeanty. Okay. Ashton Jeanty was the best player in the draft. Overall, best player. The problem is he plays a position that does not win you Super Bowls. And you could say whatever you want about Saquon Barkley on the Eagles. Say whatever you want. But if Saquon Barkley was helping teams win Super Bowls, or was the reason teams are winning Super Bowls, we would have been talking about the Giants years ago. And they were one of the worst teams in the league. Okay. The Eagles had a spectacular offensive line. They had one of the top defenses in the league, if not the top defense in the league. And they had a pretty competent quarterback to get the job done. Okay. The Raiders do not have that. Okay, they have Geno Smith. I would say he's a competent quarterback. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I don't even think he's the third best quarterback in that division, which makes him the fourth best out of 4. After Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Bo Nix. Bo Nix, he looked pretty good last year. Wide receiver core? Who do the Raiders have? Nobody. Okay. Offensive line, that we have decent tackles on the Raiders. We'll see how it goes this year. D-line, you got Max Crosby. And this is ultimately where I'm getting at. If you want to win a Super Bowl, you have to get pressure on the quarterback. Or you have to have good linebackers or big D tackles to stop the run, to stop guys like Saquon Barkley, or to get to guys like Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes that can maneuver out of the pocket, make things happen. Like playing backyard football, you got to be able to stop those guys. Or you have to have DBs that can defend for longer than normal. The Raiders have none of that. And that is what's most important. After offensive line, getting pressure on the opposing team's quarterback and forcing turnovers is most important. And that's defense. And now they let go of Christian Wilkins. And I am frustrated because this just tells me this is the Raiders. This just is the Raiders, and it should not surprise me. Right? You take Derek Carr. You take Amari Cooper's back. You take Amari Cooper. You take Josh Jacobs. You're trying to build this team around. You take Khalil Mack, trying to build this team around Derek Carr, right? Well, they never did it. Why did it not work? Well, because Derek Carr got sacked a lot. If your last name's Carr, I think you should stop playing quarterback, because once you get to the NFL, they don't care about you. They will not build an O-line for you. Okay? We see the 1 year getting late. I should wind this up. The 1 year they make the playoffs, breaks his ankle on getting sacked the last game because his team can't block for him, and they lose their first game in the playoffs. And they have the worst defenses in the history of the NFL during that time period. And so it's just a reminder, right? The Raiders go sign a D tackle. Now he plays 1 year. He gets injured. Now he's gone. If you want to be the best, you got to draft the best at the positions that give you the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl. And we'd much rather have running backs. I saw this comment. I put a tweet out there, I responded to Adam Schefter, and my response just caused so much drama. It went crazy. I think it got the most interaction history of X for me. It was nuts. I quit looking at my notifications. And one of the comments was, there's multiple ways to build a Super Bowl winning team. I disagree. I 100% disagree with that. You go look at the past Super Bowls. You go look at the Chiefs. You look at the Rams when they won it. You look at the Eagles. You look at the 49ers. They haven't won it, but they've been a good team. And you look at the Patriots. All these really good teams. What are some things they all have in common? Oh, they all have a good O-line. Oh, yeah. They all have one to two. They all have at least two players that can disrupt the opposing team's quarterback. Right? And they all have a decent secondary. And then they all have a smart quarterback. What did the Patriots never have? They never had an all-star running back, and they never had an all-star wide receiver for that season, right? Like you could say, oh, they had Randy Moss or Edelman. Like, yeah, they're good, but they're not the best in the league. Nobody's chasing after them, right? Because they're these freaks at the skill position. Nobody. And then I don't even remember the running back's names. James White or something like that. There is a formula to win Super Bowls. And it's going to be hard to change my mind about that. And the fact that teams don't stick to that, mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. All right. A lot of things to touch on here. Spend all day, but here's what I want to say. We got this one coming out right now. Saturday, you're most likely to listen to this on Saturday. Saturday is our Saturday specials. I don't know what I'm going to I have to come up with a name for them. Saturday specials. Rick Jimenez, the pastor at Rivergate Ministries, sat down with me and we talked. He's awesome. The conversation was awesome. You got to go check it out. And then Monday, we're going to have another show. So it's just boom, 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 boom. You're going to have a lot to listen to. So I could save some of these, but I want to touch on some of these. Okay. Because this is important too. North Carolina and Clemson. It's rumored that they are interested in jumping to the SEC. They play in the ACC. They want to go to the SEC. No, we do not want that. If they are going to do that, they just need to combine all the big conferences, make two different leagues. This is what it's leading to. The G5 needs to get on board, like team up together and start something new before the bigger teams do it. Get everybody hyped for something different, right? G5, let's team up with FCS and let's do promotion relegation. They will never do that, but it'll get people hyped. You will make a ton of money. If you all get together, you will have a package, a TV deal package somewhere. Do it before the big schools do and try to take all the money. Right? North Carolina and Clemson. Why? Why are we going to do this? Why? College sports used to be great. It was so good. And now we have guys like Lincoln Riley and Kirk Cegnetti, who he came out and said it straight up. Head coach of Indiana said, yeah, we're putting a schedule together like the SEC, but we're not trying to play non-conference games that are tough. Right? And then you have Lincoln Riley, who says, yeah, I'd love to play Notre Dame, but if I want to get into the playoff, I'm not going to play Notre Dame. So you don't want to play Notre Dame, Lincoln. Just say that. You don't want to play Notre Dame. USC Notre Dame is one of the biggest rivalries in the country, has been for a long time, and no one cares about it anymore. Not even the head coach at USC, because they would much rather have a shot at making the college football playoff. So there's two ways this goes. These are the only correct ways to do college football from here on out. Okay. And I will be unhappy with anything other than these two things. Either you switch to promotion relegation. Okay. And there's multiple ways you can do that. Okay? But you have to switch to promotion relegation, or there's three ways. Or you allow every conference champion to enter into the playoff. Okay, that means you're going to take the Conference USA champ. Yes. You're going to take Liberty. You're going to take Jacksonville State. You're going to take the Sun Belt champ. You're going to take the MAC champ, the Mountain West champ, the Pac-12 champ. You're going to take all of them, and you're going to take the other 4 conference champions. And yeah, this will never happen because this is going to hurt them because they're all trying to get into the same conference. Okay. Then you have 10 teams, right? You have 10 conferences. You're going to take 10 conference champions, and then you're going to take 6 at-large bids. So you're most likely going to have 2 more from the SEC, 2 more from the Big Ten, and then 2 more from somewhere else. So you can take Notre Dame if they have a great year. You can take a second ACC team if you want. You can allow a third Big Ten or SEC team in if you want. Doesn't that make more sense? Doesn't that sound more exciting? And if you are one of the people that says, well, I don't want to see Boise play Penn State again or SMU play Penn State, you want to cry, then have them play in a first round. Have Boise play Toledo in a first round game. Then they get to the second round where they can play Texas. And last but not least, the other option is this. You get rid of the playoff completely. You go back to bowl games and conference championships, bring back the meaning of conference championships to where the winner of the Pac-12 and the winner of the Big Ten go play in the Rose Bowl. And that is the championship game for the Pac-12 and Big Ten. Right? Then you have the winner of the Mountain West play the second place team or the third place team of the Pac-12, and that is that. And SEC plays. You understand what I'm saying? In the Orange Bowl, you get ACC versus SEC. Top 2 team, the winners of those go play there. And then you have a discussion and a debate after the bowl games on who the best team is. That's still fun. You don't have to have a national championship. I think you'd sell just as many tickets. You'd have just as many views. Right? What they're doing now is not good. It's not good. It's not fun. The other thing that college sports is doing is that they're playing games overseas. So it came out that Michigan wants to play Western Michigan in Germany. How does it make sense to anyone on planet Earth to have 2 teams located in the same state play on the other side of the world? What are we doing? You know what this says? This says we don't care about our fans. We don't care about the city that we are located in, because this game, wherever it would be played, would inject tons of money into the local community. Right? It's locals that get paid, I hope, to provide security, to work concessions. Then they go to restaurants before and after. Go look at the stats on Colorado. When Deion showed up at Colorado, everyone was losing their mind that Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders and Shiloh Sanders, and they're bringing all these people there. And look at the numbers. I think a couple $1 million every Saturday injected into the town of Boulder, Colorado, because you have people from all over coming into Boulder, just packing the stadium out, hitting up the downtown. They're making money. By taking 2 teams from the same state, taking them overseas, we're going to send our money to Germany? And we're going to play that game in Germany? We're going to play that game at, 2 in the morning in the United States? Who's going to watch that? And I blame this on the NFL. This is the NFL's fault for trying to expand their reach and go into Europe. Stop it. Stop it. You don't see the English soccer league, the Premier League, trying to go and talking about starting a team in California or Florida to play the rest of England. No team in Germany is trying to start a team in America to play in Germany. No one does that. And their leagues aren't even set up to do that. And it doesn't make sense for us to do that. But because we have gone there and played games, now we think we have the Jaguars have a fan base there. Then now we're going to send and we're going to send college teams to Ireland. Notre Dame and Boston College are going to play in Ireland. Okay, it's funny because the Notre Dame mascot is the Irish, the Fighting Irish, but you're in Ireland. It makes zero sense to play there. None. It's ruining college sports. It's ruining college football. You're going to lose viewers, and I'm not going to watch it. Why would I watch it? It's probably going to be on at an inconvenient time for me. And you're taking away money from local communities. It's not right. I don't like it. All right, and the funniest thing I saw, and I'll end it here. Funniest thing I saw was the WNBA and Gatorade put a sign up, and Gatorade has a slogan now with their WNBA squads. And the slogan is, "Let her cook," with a photo of female basketball players. And it says, "Let her cook." I find that hilarious. It's funny. Oh, man. All right. Tomorrow or today, Saturday, July 26th, my conversation with the pastor of Rivergate Ministries, Rick Jimenez, comes out. Wonderful man. He's a former Marine and drill instructor, and he was on combat missions overseas. And now he has started a church. You need to check that out in Fresno. You need to check him out, what he's doing, that conversation. It's very encouraging and very powerful. And then Monday, we will have another show catching up on what happened over the weekend and maybe a few other things that come to mind. If anything comes up in the Valley and you want me to talk about it, let's get it out there. Send it to me. DM me on X, Caleb_Nail. Tag me and stuff. You can find me on Instagram. I don't know what my Instagram is. I'm not good at Instagram. Caleb Nail, I guess. Is that me? Yeah, Caleb Nail. Caleb John 33. There you go. I will talk to you guys up Monday, and you'll hear from me on Saturday with Rick. Listen to that one with Rick. It's awesome. All right. God bless. Jesus loves you. Peace, everybody.